the call or to accept, dial 5 now. If you wish to block any future calls of this nature, dial 7 now. To decline this call.
Yeah, I got a really nice letter from one of your people that goes to your website, Deborah Cochran.
Yeah, she's a real sweetheart. She's a real sweetheart and loves the Lord.
Good. Tell her thank you. Very nice Christmas card.
Great.
Listen, I was reading this book, Tavistock Institute, and it talks about Rothschild and all these families and how evil they are and how they've created World War I, World War II, and how they hate Christians and want to stomp out Christianity. And there is a statement in there about the Lodge family. Wow.
Judge Lodge.
Do you believe in coincidences?
Yeah. Wow. Judge Lodge, huh?
It says in that book that the Lodge family is working with Rothschild to bring in the New World Order and was responsible, along with Rothschild, for murdering all these people.
Wow.
And that's the name of the person they said I wanted to kill.
Wow. Incredible. What's the odds of that?
So I just thought I'd point that out and say Merry Christmas.
Yeah, that. I do have the book. I found a PDF electronic copy, and so if anybody needs a copy of that, we have found a copy on the internet.
You ought to send that to my father. Here's a comment for you and your great people out there. The only thing that you need to do to conquer a corporation is to get board members on the board that you basically bought and paid for.
Yep.
Did I make any sense there?
Well, yeah, because they can make decisions about the direction of the company to either make it successful or drive it in the ditch, I guess.
So really, if you had a printing press and you had unlimited amounts of money, do you think you could afford to buy a few board members?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, the love of money is the root of the love of money is the root of all evil. If I was just given one desire to help correct the world's problems, it would be to destroy the Federal Reserve and to take away the devil's ability to print money. Yeah.
Yep, the usury money.
Well, they use it. They use it to manipulate human behavior on a massive scale. I mean, that's how they get people to do all of their evil bidding.
Well, you'll find that most people don't even understand what I just said. See, I'm trying to expose things. You have to understand something. I wanted to create a nonprofit, and I was patterning it after Rothschild's Nature Conservancy, and I was going to call it the Green Conservancy, because the bankers get a 50% deduction, where all the churches only get a 30% deduction. Of course, we're going to give Rothschilds better deduction than we're going to get.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, really, I'm not trying to be evil. I'm just saying, they brought the horse.
This call is from a federal prison.
We need to saddle it and ride it. Okay?
Well, the Bible says what they intended for evil, we can use for good, or God will use for good.
Exactly. That's why, and they turned the environmental movement into basically a religion.
Yeah.
So, seizing the environmental movement for conservation, grabbing the 50% deduction, and making environmentalist Christians, that's a great plan.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
But it occurred to me, that you've got a situation out here where nobody is really safe because these mega corporations sooner or later can all get taken over. And it's totally delusional when you say, oh, yeah, I see the evil. It's all around me. It's everywhere, but not in my church, not in my backyard.
Yeah.
You see how that's working? So
yeah.
That Lodge connection might be the link between Rothschild, the New World Order, and my church being conquered by Satanists.
Yeah.
That might be one of the links. I mean, I found others.
Well, we just had a discussion earlier this morning about the 501c3 and how when a church signs 501c3 contract, they agree not to say anything unapproved by the government. And so what they're doing is they're saying the state is in control rather than God, and we should have the Bible and God, be in control rather than the state telling the church what to say.
So I never even really realized this, but I had an idea, and I'm going to share it with you real quick. There is a way for the New Day Christians to fix this problem, or at least to know what the problem is. And I wrote about it a little bit in some of my writings. It's called the Kirlian camera, Kirlian photography. I took that course on Kirlian photography. And if you got cancer, it shows up in your aura. If you're a liar and a rat, it shows up in your aura. Whatever you are, it's in your aura. You can't hide this truth. And the reason that the priests wear the purple robes is because that's the color of Christ. Christ had a purple aura. We don't have a picture of Christ's aura. They didn't invent Kirlian cameras back then. But I assure you, if we would have had Kirlian cameras 50 years earlier, Henry Ford wouldn't be rolling over in his grave in anger right now because Zionist scum have seized Ford Motor Company's foundation. Because what would have happened is if we had a Kirlian camera, you can take the picture. You can take a picture of your current church leaders and you can tell if they're Satanists or not. It would be right there in plain view. And any leader who's not willing to succumb to the picture and show it to his congregation needs to be, no longer funded and basically run out of the church.
I got to tell you, I have a whole lot of respect for you, David, but what you're saying now, I would have to see it and get experience with it, because I would be very concerned it could be used to discriminate against people, and I would have to have proof that it really does show character. How could a photograph show your intent, like your evil intent or your evil character?
Because your energy field, which the Kirlian camera takes a picture of your energy field, shows the real you. You can't lie to it.
Yeah.
If you're evil, you're going to have a big yellow streak right down the center of your picture. If you're really with Christ, you're going to have a purple aura. And that's why the priests wear the purple schmucks. And the robes.
How do you spell Kirlian? How do you spell Kirlian so we can investigate it?
Killian, I believe. But I challenge you to look this up because, look, I'm always trying to find an answer, a solution. We're surrounded by Satanists at every level. We need a way to weed them out.
Well, that's what God's going to do. There's a Bible verse that I wish I could send to you, and it talks about do not. The Bible says specifically, do not touch the tares and the wheat together, that the God will send the angels and God will separate the wheat from the chaff. And so I agree with you. We do need to have discernment, but at the same time, it says if you try to weed them out, you're going to hurt the tares and the wheat at the same time. You're going to hurt the real wheat.
Well, what I would do if I call somebody to repentance is, like my ex-church leaders, I would challenge them to bring forward have their Kirlian picture taken if they think that they're so.
How do you know, like, if somebody eats a big thing of garlic, or maybe what if they eat something and it like causes the color to change? I mean, I would be concerned it could.
You can't lie to the camera.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, your energy field. If you have cancer, it'll show up as a brown spot. It's just absolutely amazing. Let me tell you how good this is. You can take a leaf and cut it in half, right? And take a picture of that leaf, and the whole leaf appears in the film. If I amputate your arm, I can take a picture of you, and your arm will be in the picture, even after it's amputated. Your energy field is what it is, and you can't lie to that.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking long and hard about this. That's the only way I know of to really be able to know that your leaders aren't tainted.
When you get a chance,
I'm willing to go take the picture.
Yeah. Well, you've already done it, and you're probably purple. Hey, check out Matthew chapter 13, 24 through 30. It talks about a parable of the wheat and the tares growing up together, and it says the enemy has planted tares among the wheat. And the servant said, wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? In other words, let's go get rid of all these tares because they're messing up our entire field. They're messing up the world. But he said, nay.
Well,
he said, "Less while thou
understand."
Yeah.
It's only 36 people, according to the Jews, that have a purple aura, and and if you kill all 36 people, creation is supposed to undo.
Yeah.
So, in lieu of that, yes, I have the purple aura. The instructor never saw one until he handed me that picture. He'd been teaching the class for 10 years.
Yeah.
His name was Jamison.
Yeah.
But the point is, you can be a good person. You don't necessarily have to have an all-purple aura. But if you're really a Tavistokian communist who would murder lots of people, your aura is not going to look so good.
Yeah.
It's going to have shades of gray and brown. It's just going to be horrendously horrible.
Yeah.
And, I'm thinking, how do you leave your legacy? How do you know who to put in charge of your legacy if you can't look at their aura?
The Bible says you'll know. The Bible says you'll.
Yeah,
I know. I know.
Eyes,
A child molester validated. He's a child molester validated.
Swisher has a big yellow streak down his back. I'll bet you his aura is black as Satan's hell.
Yeah, well, you know them by their fruits. The Bible says you can discern someone by the fruits of their life. And in 20, and so I'm not. I would need to be more convincing on this whole Kirlian photography thing, but the Bible says, let me just read real quick, let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, gather ye first the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. So the Lord's going to send his reapers to do the separation. There's no doubt about it. I believe he will take care of that. So
I would, for kicks and giggles, I would really like you to ask your naysayer, the one that was throwing mud at me.
Yeah.
Ask him to go take his Kirlian photography, get it certified, notarized, have it sent to you, because we want to see what real rats look like.
They won't give their.
I'm willing to bet you he won't send it.
Yeah. They won't even give. They always operate anonymously. They haven't gone anywhere. They're still being paid by the government to slander you and every other prisoner. But I'm concerned that they're just evil, wicked reprobates who got nothing. They're called accusers of the brethren. That's what the Bible calls them. They got nothing better to do than to sit around and throw accusations. So.
Okay.
All right.
Anyways, I just wanted to share that with you. And if I ever did get out, these people that did all this, I would spend $1 billion for every elected official just to fix the law.
Yeah, I know. I want justice too.
In prison on purpose.
Yeah.
You put an innocent person in prison on purpose. You need to go to prison yourself.
Yeah, I know. But
we have a judge in my case, Rudy, that lied from the bench because he can get away with it.
Yeah.
He closed Swisher's military file and said, there's nothing in this file that shows that this man's not Rambo. But let me tell you, the first letter in Swisher's military file said, we think that he might have forged this document because there's no such thing as a DD-2 replacement, DD-214. And the awards created on line 16 were created by Congress in 93, and the document is dated 53. Really?
Yeah. I hear
perjury.
You. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Richard Tolman is a perjuring liar, and I can prove it.
Yeah.
And I was wearing my own wire when I was arrested, and Agent Long of the FBI is guilty of perjury. He testified that I confessed to all of this, but I was the one wearing a wire.
You're not shocked when I tell you that what has happened to you is actually common. I mean, I've got stories of other innocent men in prison. Some of them have been there over 20 years, maybe 35 years in some cases. And what these judges and prosecutors and FBI special agents do, that's become common behavior. And we've got it's just terrible. I mean, you've got 15 freaking years in prison as an innocent man. It's just terrible, terrible, terrible. But it's a very common story, and the American people have to rise up and do something about it.
We're out of time, but why should I sit here, and this guy's throwing mud at me in the past, why should I sit here when they said I did it every 15 minutes, but nobody can come up with a recording of me doing it?
Right, I know. All they got is...
And why would they hide my alibi when I'm in Russia and the Ukraine, and you're going to say I'm here when I'm not? And they're liars in a coma. You can tell me they didn't know he was in a coma? What kind of an FBI guy is this? He can't even find out that his own witness was in a coma? diapers in the VA hospital?
Our Father's going to put them in hell for eternity. I mean, there's going to be an eternal lake of fire, right? So that they will get their just deserts, and I believe they'll even get it in this world. But that's vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. The Lord will get them, and He will take care of them. He will, you know. So we're praying for that to happen. I want justice just as bad as you do.
We're out of time. I love you.
Okay, we love you.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay, love you, Dave.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay.